this video will start soon. And I'm hoping everybody can hear me. So it says I'm now live. So let's see how well we do. So today I'm going to talk to you about reconnecting and nurturing my spiritual side. And in this whole entire video, I'll be discussing aspects that have recently happened that helped me to realize that I was no longer connected to my spiritual side like I thought I was, and actually for how long I was not connected, and how I came to that awakening, and now I'm connecting, and how I'm nurturing. Now there's going to be some trigger warnings here, folks, that I'm going to put out there. We are all entitled to our opinions, and I definitely respect that. But my trigger warning is this. I'm going to delve into some very sensitive topics that have happened recently in my life, and I'm not going to give names. It can become uncomfortable for some. Part of my spiritual path now is about expressing my authentic, unfiltered thoughts and opinions, and that's going to happen. So, hopefully this comes through. So, hi viewers, I don't know if you can hear me. Please comment if you can. I would love to be able to see that. So, where to begin? It's been a long time coming. Let's put it that way. I'm going to start back a few months ago, and I'm going to kind of give you guys an idea of what has brought me to this point in my life. Again, because obviously I don't listen to the universe. I'm going to listen this time though. But anyway, so I'm hoping this works, but it's telling me my FPS or whatever is kind of low. So hopefully this still works. I don't know how to change that. So anyway, but if you're a viewer and you can see me, please definitely say something, okay? All right, so for many of you that know me personally, a lot of what my issues were, I thought, started December 1st. Hindsight, as I say, is definitely 2020. Hi, Cindy. Can you hear me okay, Cindy? So, hindsight, as they say, is 2020. And this is where I'm at now. I thought it started December 1st. I was wrong. I became aware of a lot of the things that the universe was telling me December 1st. So let's skip back to November. Actually, mid to end of November is where my life took a very drastic turn, okay? In November, okay, great, thank you, Cindy. In November, mid-November, I had 4 adults living in my home, this myself included, and I fell sick. I was basically in bed for like 2 weeks. My father and I both fell sick at the same time. We had called the doctor. We did a telehealth appointment. He through our insurance company, and they're like, yeah, it sounds like you have COVID. And they sent us medications and inhalers to use and said, if you can, stay home, because at this time the hospitals were just jam-packed. So I did that for my father and I. Now, mind you, folks, I have a medical background. I took every precaution. because I have health issues. My father has health issues. My husband has health issues. And my friend that was living had health issues. So I didn't want to bring any of that home. I didn't want to feel responsible for bringing anything home, whether it be a cold, pneumonia, whatever. So I did due diligence. Okay, and again, this is the trigger warning. It's my opinion, it's my thought, and we're all entitled to that. And I'm going to be very authentic and very blunt. I made sure I wore a mask, an N95. I made sure that anything that was brought into my home, I cleaned. I made sure the only places I went was the hospital. I made sure all of this, okay? And I got sick. Hi, Kieran. My father got sick. My father has worse issues than I do. He has COPD. He's already on all kinds of medications, and it didn't click. But my husband was there, and my friend was living with us. She was there. And for like 2 weeks, middle to end of December, I was laid up in bed. I would get up, I would feed my dogs, I would try to clean house, I would, make phone calls the whole entire time, hardly able to breathe. All I wanted to do, my body was so exhausted, all it wanted to do was sleep. I didn't eat anything, I couldn't keep anything down, it was coming out both ends. My head felt like it was going to explode, my sinuses were messed up, I could not keep a straight thought in my head. There were days that my dad would literally get up out of bed, he would go to his chair in the living room, sit, and go to sleep. So it was that bad. And it just continuously got worse. We took our meds, we took our inhalers. I kind of remember a little bit during that time because, like I said, all I wanted to do was sleep. My body was just done. And, but I had to get up, I had to feed my family, I had to, I didn't go anywhere because I wasn't going to take a chance that much. I was lucid enough to remember, to know that. But I had to feed my family, I had to clean my home, I had to take care of my husband, I had to take care of my father, I had to take care of my friends. I was it. I was it. And the whole entire time I get up, do a few things, go to bed, take an hour or two nap, pass out. So it was hell. Things really started coming to a head, again, hindsight. I'm of the mind now, just so we know, I'm not celebrating holidays. Holidays are bad for me. I'm gonna get into that. So keep track of this, okay? So early morning of Thanksgiving Day, like 3 o'clock in the morning. I had to put my dog down. Yeah, she passed away. Actually, I didn't put her down. I take that back. Early morning on Thanksgiving Day, my dog passed away on my bed. So I had to have her cremated. I had to take her the next day to get her cremated. Just, natural causes. She fell asleep and just didn't wake up, and I was devastated. So sick as I was, I called up my local vet and told them what I needed. They met me outside. My husband couldn't get out of bed at the time. He was having back issues and pain issues. My friend was nowhere to be found. She was gone somewhere. I think actually was gone to her family's, I think. So I do apologize for that, but she was gone with her family. But anyway, my dad, as sick as we were, we N95'd up, gloved up, and stood the requisite 6 feet, placed her in a box, placed her on the ground in the box so that the person can come out and take her, and that way we weren't, trying to expose anyone. I went home, and I broke down. I broke down. I mean, this is my fur baby, and anybody that knows me knows that I love my animals. My animals are my babies. They are my children, and I was just devastated. And I got home and I told my husband, I said, I am not dealing with Thanksgiving today. I'm done. I'm go have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I'm not dealing. And he was like, no problem. We're not. And I kind of muddled through the rest of November, and December 1st was a kicker. December 1st, my husband had a doctor's appointment. And this is what I now consider my uphill climb to realization. And the uphill climb on this mountain was rocks and shale and nothing to grab onto. And December 1st, he had a doctor's appointment. Mind you, I had to put him in a wheelchair because he couldn't walk. His back was killing him. He was there for, and we were in West Branch. And we walked in. We were in that doctor's office 10 minutes. And 10 whole minutes. Doctor looked at him and said, nope, take him to the emergency room now. Shuffled him back in, took him over to the emergency room. They admitted him. And by this time, it's like 1 p.m. They admit him. He tested positive for COVID. Okay. It wasn't just, him being in pain. It wasn't just him. He tested positive for COVID. I got home. I got a phone call at 4 p.m. So within 2-3 hour period. He's in ICU. I need to run back to the hospital. Go back to the hospital. My husband is in ICU. He went from emergency room to ICU. He started failing in the emergency room. They gown me up, mask me up, just cover me up. I walk into his room. And he's unresponsive. He has got sepsis of the liver, the kidneys, the lungs. Completely unresponsive. No light, nothing. He is breathing, but it's starting to become labored. And I had to make decisions right then and there. I want to point out a couple of things. Yes, I know that as a spouse, especially a spouse of an older person that has health issues, I'm aware that I'm going to have to make those decisions. I'm very well aware of that. However, to make life and death decisions for your spouse, loved one, friend, whatever, even though you may know this will happen, when it actually happens, you're not prepared. I don't care how good you think you are, you're going to be thrown for a loop, and I was. I stepped out of the room. I was talking to the doctors up there, and Dr. Ross at Michigan in West Branch, if you ever see this, if you guys ever hear of this doctor was my savior, was my husband's savior, more than once, okay? Amazing individual. Sat me down and said, okay, this is what, we think is going on. He definitely has COVID. These are the different scenarios. What do you feel comfortable doing? It wasn't, they gave me the information. They allowed me to make my own informed decision. They did not, they knew it was pertinent, would need to be done. But it wasn't, do it now, okay? Do what we say, do it now. Never happened like that, which I'm so grateful for, because, having this just boom in my face, I can't even begin to tell you. To give you an idea, I'm very much family-oriented, friend-oriented. Those that I consider my friends, I consider an extension of my family. I will go to the ends of the earth for those that are within my inner circle. My husband, my father, always comes first, always, and my dogs. But also the mindset where I have to take care of my family. That's just who I am. And it gets hard. It gets real hard. And the first thought was, how did I fail? How did I fail my husband? By having him get COVID, by having him now in ICU. He's hooked up to a bubbling oxygen, which is throwing 100% oxygen into his lungs, forcing it. He's hooked up to 4 IVs. Not just, he's literally hooked up to 1 in each arm and 1 in each leg. Yeah. He's unresponsive to light, to sound. His pulse is real thready, real weak, full of infection. To see, sorry, it's just, to see my husband there, a man that I've been with for almost 30 years, who's stubborn, who's sassy, who's, laying there. I was just floored. And now being in charge of trying to continue his life as best I can. It was hard. So I got with the doctors and everybody, and one thing I cannot stress enough, and I'm so glad we have, because I'm a little OCD, I have advanced directives and living wills done for my husband, my father, and I. We have wills done, all 3 of us. That's all, has always been. So I had all that ready and going. It's very emotional, sorry. Again, trigger warning. So I get all this, and we make our decisions right then and there. We're going to play it by ear. He's on pain meds. He's on breathing treatment. He's on, saline. He's on, everything and anything. This is December 1st. So I go home, I'm in knots. I'm in absolute knots, because I'm like, how did I fail? How did I fail my husband? How? How did I fail him? And I went home and told my dad what was going on. Told my friend at the time what was going on. And, got a hold of my daughter, got a hold of my nieces, who literally think of my husband as, like a father figure. Got a hold of my husband's 2 sisters. I tried to talk to my husband's brother, but I don't think I could. But anyway, let them know what's going on, because this is severe. This is severe, big time. This is monumentally. So I'm kind of scrambling. I'm kind of going through the motions of, what do I need to do? And I was like that for a couple of days. I was kind of just numb. I kind of detached so I could function. December 4th, my best friend who lived with us, I had to take her to the hospital at 6 in the morning. She couldn't breathe. She had health issues. She couldn't breathe. She was in massive pain. So at 6 a.m., I take her into the emergency room by us. By the night of the 4th, she's in ICU. Literally 2 doors down from my husband. I stayed with her until like 1 o'clock or something. They got her stabilized and stuff, got her pain meds on board. They thought that she was just having a flare-up or something, and come to find out, they had me leave the hospital saying, it's going to be okay, they'll get a hold of me, whatever. And, up in ICU. 2 doors down from my husband. And things got crazier. Things got real bad. I'm, again, now have to take care of my husband, my dad, my home, my dogs, myself. And I thought, I thought I could do this. I thought that I was spiritual. I thought that I was balanced. I thought I could, I was wrong. The universe had other plans to show me. Um, so I'm getting a hold of, I'm trying to like update my husband's side of the family, keep my head above the water with my husband. Um, there was a lot of phone calls with doctors and nurses there. Try to update my best friend who lived with us, her family, her son and stuff, and her parents, and things like that. Just update her family members, and still try to keep my head above water. It was the most. It was the scariest time in the world for me. Again, fully aware as a spouse you're going to do this. Fully aware that you're going to be called, in sickness and in health. I was nowhere near prepared, and I've gone through a lot with my husband. I mean, I've gone through pacemaker surgery. I've gone through back surgery with him. I've gone through, infections with him, falls, you name it. I've gone through, like early onset dementia with him. I'm like, I got this. You don't. Let me tell you, I didn't. Sadly, 8 days later, my friend died in the ICU. Hooked up to every imaginable conception. And from the 1st to the 12th, I couldn't go see her, even though she was 2 doors down. I mean, I would look in the window. I could not go in to see her. I couldn't say goodbye. I couldn't see her. Because if I would have seen her, I wouldn't be able to go see my husband. And I had to make a really hard decision and hope she understood. And I made the decision to go see my husband, to deal with my husband. Her family was dealing with her. I was dealing with my husband. And understandably, when you're in that kind of situation, you have to pick and choose. And sadly, I had to. I was put in that position. She didn't come out of the hospital. She passed away. And things just got worse. My husband was in the hospital until mid-January. Well over a month in ICU. And he went back and forth to a rehab. He'd be at rehab like 2 or 3 days and then be back in the hospital. Go back to rehab 2 or 3 days, be back in the hospital. All the way up until, what is this, May, so April-ish? Yeah. He ended up getting sepsis. He was unresponsive, all of that. But I was lucky, I guess. I don't know how to put it. With an understanding doctor. And one thing I refused, as only as a last resort, but I refused otherwise, I was not going to put my husband on a ventilator. I wasn't. I was not going to put a feeding tube into my husband. I simply was not. At my husband's age, okay, I knew a ventilator was going to be the end of it. I knew. And anybody with, the background I have, you kind of know. A ventilator is, that's it. Coming off of that ventilator is sometimes harder than being on it. And please understand, if you feel your family needs to be on it, then do it. This is just coming from me, in my opinion, and my place at that time. They want to put feeding tubes in him. I said no. We decided to do an IV type solution to keep his body going. And I will tell you, my husband to this day, yes, he's home, but still a long way from healing. He has no memory, none, from December 1st until, God, April. None. Zilch. Zero. He was in like a COVID coma. He had no recollection of anything. He did not even know me. The times that he was awake in the hospital or in rehabilitation, he did not know me. I was a stranger. I was the pretty lady. That was it. That came to visit. They gave him a hug. I was warned not to give him a kiss, not to call him my husband, just to be nice. I was visiting. My husband has no idea what happened during those few months. None. And he never will. Because his body was shut down to just survive. He'll never know. He'll never remember. And he doesn't know that he didn't know me. He doesn't. Again, it's completely blank. So after my friend passed, I had to deal with that and the guilt and the anger and the hurt of all that, while dealing with the emotions of dealing with my husband. Many nights I'd go home from the hospital and I would go through the motions of trying to just survive, get things done, and not cry, not break down. And I'd go to bed at night and I would just think through the day and how utterly alone, how absolutely lost I was. During this time, I was not listening to my body. I was not eating. If I was eating, it would be, a cup of coffee and maybe a piece of toast. I was not listening to my body's needs at all. My focus was on everything that had to be done in the mundane world. I became so stressed with everything and so emotionally in an upheaval emotionally all the time. I started to lose my hair. It would fall out in clumps, like clumps. I would brush my hair or I'd just touch my hair and it would fall out in clumps. So yeah, it was rough. And then the last time was in, it was wintertime by this time, of course. And it's cold. I'm going to tell you, it's cold. And I went to Detroit because my husband was transferred down there. And I would stay the night just to be there, just to make decisions and things. And some of the decisions I made were right there off the hip with the hope that I was making the right decision. And I got home and I got a hold of my doctor. I'm like, look, I said, my hair's falling out in clumps. So she hurried up and got me on with her video and stuff. And she's like, yeah, we got problems. You are under stress. My eyes were sunk in. It was just, my skin was horrible. Everything was just horrible. I was not listening to my body's needs. So I said, okay. She's like, you need vitamins, you need rest, you need water, you need food. I said, okay. Hung up with her, got a hold of my friend who's a hairstylist, and I'm like, what can you do? I'm like, seriously, I'm losing my hair. I said, I don't care. I'm not a vain person. I've gone bald before. I've shaved my head in, solidarity with my uncle and my mom when they had cancer. I said, I don't care. It's hair. It'll grow back. If not, oh well, I'll wear a wig or a hat. But I need to do something to help. I went into her. We shaved my head bald. It's the only way we could do it. I was not listening to my body. I was not listening to that spiritual aspect at all. I was living day to day, minute to minute, trying to deal. So I lost myself. I lost every aspect of myself. There was no spirituality. And believe me, I've worked on my spirituality. I thought I was back into it. You know, we moved to this new house last year, and I met some really great people. You know, I'm sitting on the back porch. It's beautiful. It's serene. It's, you know, everything I wanted and then some. And I'm like, yes, I'm home. You know, this is my spiritual sanctuary. This is it. I journal and things like that. Yeah, well, guess what? I wasn't as enlightened as I thought. I wasn't as spiritual as I thought. So, yeah. So I'm going to ask you guys, can you guys still hear me? You guys still being able to hear me okay? Just let me know. So anyway, here I was doing all that, and added was I was helping to deal with my friend's stuff because she lived with us. And I'm still dealing with that. But the biggest thing I'm dealing with now is personal, in-depth things that I thought were okay, but aren't. And guys, I'm going to tell you, okay, one of the biggest things I learned in my life, but the biggest thing I learned during this whole entire thing is you're going to find out who really cares when someone dies. Okay, I'm going to be point blank blunt here. When someone dies, family, friends, strangers, true personalities, true feelings come out. That's simple. You will see the true, authentic person when death happens. And it's because of the grieving process. That's simple. The other aspect of that is the person that passes, you're going to find out everything about them. All of the secrets that they thought that they were holding on to, all out in the open. And those left behind are going to know those secrets. And it can be parents, it can be grandchildren, it can be children, it can be, you know, anybody. Your secrets are going to come out. Plain and simple. That's part of everything. And when my friend passed, you know, I was there to help as much as I could. And a lot of secrets came out. Everywhere. People literally showed their true colors. Everywhere. And I expected it. I'm a minister. I've done funerals before. I get the concept. It's a psychological thing that happens. But I still felt guilty because, you know, I felt I let my friend down. Period. I brought this nastiness to the home, and this is what, you know, devastated my family. And again, like I said, those that I consider my friends are my family, and this friend was literally like a sister to me. So dealing with all that, trying to be supportive, trying to make these off-the-cuff decisions, trying to get through another day, another hour, another minute without falling down into a puddle was the most excruciating, most devastating, hardest thing I've ever had to go through. Ever. And I know I'm going to have to go through it again before my death in this life. Am I better prepared for it? Maybe. But it was something that just really took its toll. So, I was laying in bed. I don't even know where it was. I don't know if it was at a hotel room in Detroit or what, but I was laying in bed one night. And it was about a month or so after all of this happened. And I remember I did this deep soul sob. I laid there for a couple hours to the point where my tears had dried up, my throat hurt, my eyes hurt. There was just nothing left. I had nothing at all to give. I was raw, I was bare, I was broke. I just laid there and just went, I'm done. I give up. You win. And I literally went to the universe, you win. Whatever it is that you are going to do, now is the time to do it. Because I'm done. You win. I don't have any more strength to continue just to get myself out of bed in the morning. And I just laid there. I laid there and just went, just take me instead. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done trying to give you what you want or what I think you want. And that was everything I had. That was reserves I never even knew I had that I plucked up and I gave. I have nothing. And I just laid there, middle of the night, by myself, knowing the next day is going to be pretty much the same way. Then I'm going to have to get up. I'm going to have to make a decision. It's going to be a medical decision. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I've got to do it. Then I have to go home. I have to take care of my family that's at home and just keep doing. And I thought to myself, this is not a life, this is existing. And I kind of put myself down going, what the frick is going on? I thought I was a spiritual person. You know, I thought I could pray. I thought I could scream. I thought I could holler. I thought I could get through this. I thought I was a balanced person, that, you know, every aspect of me was balanced. It wasn't at all. So laying there, I decided not to think. I decided just to, with my mind, I'm done thinking. I'm done trying to have my mind go in these circles that are getting me nowhere. So I kind of just blanked myself out. And I'm laying there. I remember staring. I think actually it was in the hospital at the hotel room in Detroit. I remember in the hotel room staring at this spot on the wall, this just like little water spot. And I let my mind go. I'm like, I'm done. You know, there's no sense in continuing. So, staring at this spot, something came to me. Now, whether it was my guides or universe or whatever, this thought came to me. And it was a question. The question was, what did you think was going to happen? And I went, what? And I thought about it again. What did you think was going to happen? So I thought, wow, yeah, what did I think was going to happen? And I started replaying in my head, like the last couple years, the motions that I went through. And it was just motions of being a spiritual person. You know, I journaled, I did my meditations, and I really asked some very deep, heavy questions. Was I going through the motions, or did I feel it? Was I just hurrying up and getting through my morning meditations, my evening meditations, my yoga, my Pilates, all that spiritual stuff, the journaling, the classes, just to get through it, to go on to the next thing, which was whatever. And I thought about that. And I went, yeah, yeah, I did. Guilty. And the next question that popped in my head is, why? Why disconnect? And how long? And I thought back and about that back, and I'm like, about 2, 3 years. It was just before COVID, the original COVID, the first thing of COVID. Before that. And I thought, wow, the only time that I was spiritual, really in connection and in balance with my spiritual, between my mundane life and my everyday life and my spiritual, was when I was forced, or when I forced myself. And sometimes I just went through the motions. Wow. Just wow. And I thought, I don't want to do that no more. I don't want to be that way anymore. I don't want to be disconnected anymore. I don't want to let myself down. It doesn't matter if I let anybody else down. I don't want to let myself down anymore. Period. Because I realized something. At the end of my life, when I'm laying on that bed and I'm passing away, nobody else is going to hold my hand. Nobody from this realm is going to hold my hand and walk that walk with me. It's going to be me and me alone. And that scared the hell out of me. Because where am I going to go? How am I going to face that when I can't even face the reality that I'm disconnected? This was hard. It was eye-opening. It was scary. And with everything else going on in my life, I just went, wow. Did I change when I moved to my new house? Yes. Why did I change? Because it was less chaotic, less hectic. I felt my home welcomed me with open arms and just hugged me, and I felt it was a true sanctuary. I was just existing in the other house. Why didn't you deepen your spirituality then? You scratched the surface of your spirituality, but you didn't deepen it. Why? You had time. Because I was afraid to. Yeah. I was afraid to delve in, to really jump in and really see myself for who I really was, and know that I've not done the best of things. And I still had to accept that. Yeah, that's why. So, how am I reconnecting? I pulled my big girl panties up, is what I did. I pulled my big girl panties up and I said, okay, got to do this. I've got to start taking responsibility for my life first. That includes my spirituality. Because this chunk was gone. There was a void. Okay? I was doing the emotional, I was doing the physical, I was doing the mental, I was doing the psychological, but I was not doing the spiritual at all. Period. That was gone. That was just picked up, put aside, put in a drawer, tossed underneath, not looked at. Let me tell you, it was hard. Really hard. So I made myself a promise that night. And I kept repeating that promise, and I still do to this day. At the end of your life, you are going to love people with all your soul. And you do. I do. But at the very end of your life, you are the only one that are going to be going to the next level. Just you. Nobody else can follow. Nobody else can be with you. It's just you. How are you going to connect with your spirituality now to make yourself feel more complete? To get you through, to have you find your strength, to do whatever it is you need to do to find your balance, to find your calm, to find your center, to find what it is that was missing. What are you going to do? Right here, right now. So I started making promises to myself. I started cleaning house internally. Really taking stock of the things that I had in my life, physical, the emotions that I was harboring for things that have happened that I have no control over, accepting who I am, trying to better the things that I feel need to be worked on, which are my negatives, being present more, going out to experience spiritual things more, loving myself more. So, by cleaning house, I did. Some people I'm no longer friends with. I call them acquaintances. I know them, they're great, but they're not going to be a part of my inner circle anymore. One of the biggest things I made was, again, trigger warning. It's not like I dislike people, I dislike their actions. Okay? Point blank. I like people. Sometimes people make their own decisions, and they are definitely entitled to that, and I praise you guys for that. I applaud you for that. But my whole thing is now is if it does not resonate with my energy or resonate where I want to be in life, I can't. I will not be drawn into drama. I will not be drawn into chaos. I will not be pitted against one person or another for any reason. I will not be used. None of this. This all stopped here during that time, and it still is continuing. So I decided I'm done. I'm done. I stopped. I really thought about people in my life, and I'm talking family, friends, all of it. And I just started getting rid of. Like, I love you, but you do you. I'm going to do me. I wish you blessings. I wish you luck in everything you do, and I mean that from the bottom of my soul. But we're not nowhere near. I can't. If you're bringing drama, if you're bringing chaos, stay over there. If you're going to use me for something, stay over there. Love you, but I'll love you from afar. And I went through and I did that with a lot of people. I no longer consider them within my inner sanctum of friends. I consider them acquaintances. Family, like close family, I don't talk to. I don't need to. Nobody's going to force me to. And the same goes for you, if that's how you're feeling. But if you want that, then great. That's your life. You are in charge of that. And I applaud you. But I had to stop. For my own sanity, for my own life, for my own where I'm going in this life and what I want. I had to stop. I started doing my meditations purposefully now. And it's a myriad of it. I started going classes for shadow work. Yeah. To learn how to face what I didn't want to face. To learn to accept that aspect of myself. And it's still not easy. I'm still not through that. There's multiple layers. And that's going to be a long time thing. I went to group meditations, which for me, being in a group, the anxiety, man, let me tell you, I have high social anxiety. But I forced myself. I went to a group meditation. Amazing energy of the place, amazing meditation, amazing people. I went to a goddess tea and met other women. Another amazing place. A person that put it on, just the embodiment of a goddess. That calm, that wisdom, that beauty, that love, that compassion, that empathy. I was scared to death. So thankfully I had a friend of mine that went, we went together. I'm sitting on the couch and I'm shielded, man, because I'm like, ooh, I'm still getting through all this, and I don't need more. But I open it up a little bit. Okay, that's pretty cool. But I thoroughly let myself enjoy the entire thing. I didn't do the craft, but I enjoyed the company. I enjoyed looking at people and actually going, wow, they're on the same path. These like minds within the area that I live. When I've been told by so many people, there's not a lot of spiritual people out there. Let me tell you, if you're in West Branch, near West Branch, Standish, or Sterling, there's a lot. There's a lot, because I met them. We just hide. Um, so I did that. I had met quite a few people when I first moved to the area I am now. One of them was a neighbor. She's like 3, 4 doors down from me. And it's kind of funny because when we first met, there was like this whole, no, not sure, okay, no. And then we just didn't talk. And then she went through some stuff. I went through some stuff. We kind of reconnected. And phenomenal woman. Phenomenal. All right, Cindy, hugs and loves, hon. um, she's on her own spiritual path, and she's a warrior. She really is. Inspiring, amazing energy, and so we've reconnected on a different level. And it's funny because she tells me, she's like, when I first met you to now, you've changed a lot, and I didn't really like. Aw, thank you, sweetie. So are you, you beautiful lady, you. I love my red hair lady. Big, big hug, sweetheart. Mwah. Don't overdo it today. She's phenomenal. But anyway, um, she's like, I didn't. She's like, you changed a lot. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that I just stopped. I just stopped. I had no fight left in me for useless fights. I didn't. I was done. I am done. I redirected my focus, and honestly, I went into myself to heal, and I'm still there. I'm not fully done healing, and it's going to take a long while yet. But reconnecting with her has been great. We actually did a retreat here almost 2 weeks ago, something like that. It was like 2 weeks on Thursday or something. Had an amazing time, and that retreat was an eye opener for me too. It wasn't massively big, but I've gone to other retreats. I've gone to conventions, and I've gone to other things, and I always felt an undercurrent of competition, of jealousy, of disassociation, that really made the whole entire thing, even though I got stuff out of it, I always felt like I was judged, okay? And right now I'm more of an introvert, surprisingly, um, because of what's going on in my life right now and what's going on with me right now and the changes I'm doing. And being in the type of energy it was, everybody was at these different levels, but nobody was judging anybody else. Nobody was any better than anybody else. We were, there about pure love, pure compassion, pure empathy. And I needed that, but I didn't know I needed that. So going into this retreat, I was kind of like, I don't know, I had paid for it, said I'd go, but I'm like, oh God, I don't know if I can do this, And then the day of the retreat, I'm driving there, and I'm like, oh God. So I call home, and I'm thinking there's something wrong with the furnace. There really wasn't. Stuff with my husband. I'm like, okay, is it the universe telling me I can't do this? Because one of the things I've learned, listen to the universe. You may not know what the flip is going on, but if you trust and just let go of that control, you might actually learn something. You might actually enjoy something, and it'll be a lot less stress. So, um, so that's how I'm kind of reconnecting. How am I nurturing it? I speak up. I speak up. Um, I speak up. I cannot tell you how often in my past speaking up has helped. But no matter what, I always thought speaking up was bad. Why? Every time I spoke up, I was called names or I was treated differently because, oh, she's just being emotional. She's having that issue. She's being emotional. Because when I spoke up, by the time I spoke up, I'd had enough and I was angry. Um, and I was just like, yeah. So, so you know, one of my favorite quotes on this is by Thomas Paine. Okay, I have actually two that I follow now. Because yes, I follow quotes. The real man smiles in trouble, gathers strength from distress, and grows brave by reflection. And the harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. Um, those two quotes definitely have helped. Um, but it's, um, yeah, it's just, it's just, it's really there. So these quotes kind of like rule my life on that a little bit. Um, but I speak up now. People are going to think what they want to think of me. It's that simple. Wherever they're at in their life, in their path, in their journey, um, whatever they feel they may reflect onto me or mirror onto me. Okay. Whatever they don't feel, they're not going to feel. I cannot force them to feel. And the same goes for me. So to nurture where I'm at, to nurture my growth, to nurture my expansion, to nurture my enlightenment, whatever it is you wish to call it, I need to live by those same rules and let go. Let go of preconceived notions that people aren't going to like me. They're not going to like me. They're not going to like me no matter how hard I try. To let go of the preconceived notions that not everybody can be my friend. I can still love them, and I do. But they're not going to be my best friend. They're not going to be my friends. So I do apologize. I'm in my studio, and there's people next door doing a meeting. But anyway, so I do apologize for the extra noise. I have things to teach that I was told a long time ago that I wasn't good enough to teach. I shouldn't be where I am today. I shouldn't be a reader. I shouldn't any of that. And I let a lot of that go too because I realized something. I did. At that retreat, I've been a reader for a very long time. I've been a coven leader for a very, very long time. And I thought I got over this, but I guess I didn't. I actually got over it recently. Actually, fully 100%. But I was told that I wouldn't be a very good reader, ever. I was also told that I shouldn't lead a coven, that my pendulum swang too much. I was never balanced. And all that kind of stuck with me. I was always told that I was less than. During that retreat that I went to, we did gallery readings, which I did for a few months, years ago, but I had taken a break during all this from readings of any kind. I did not want to try to delve into the spiritual world when my own spirit was so off. I was nervous. Oh, I was nervous. Oh, I can't even begin to tell you the knots in my stomach. But I was nurtured and carried, and I listened to my guides. I listened to the universe, and I helped someone um, who later came to me, and I helped a couple others, and I made some really amazing connections with people, and wonderful. We actually would spend time after the lectures and all that we were doing during the day at the bar, chit-chatting and just laughing and having fun, and I never would have made those connections if I wouldn't have gone to that retreat. I never would have made the discoveries of myself if I hadn't forced myself to be put in that position, and trusting that it was going to be okay. I knew the people that were putting it on. I knew the person that I was going with, so that was my safety net. The discussions, were in-depth discussions on almost every topic imaginable. And hi, Laura. Hi, sweetie, hugs. And enlightening, and we were on different evolution levels, I guess, on the spiritual path, but yet at the same time, we weren't talking above another. We weren't, looking down on another. We were learning. It was this big cauldron of knowledge and love and empathy and compassion and picking each other up and growing and expanding and lessons and things I had never thought of were talked about. Things that other perspectives were talked about of the same subject. It was so empowering, so spiritual. That's when I learned I never let it go from the past. I never let go that I was told so many years ago you shouldn't be a reader. So many years ago that you shouldn't be a coven member or a leader. So many years ago that you're not going to succeed because da-da-da-da-da-da. And I also learned I'm a giver. That's a big one. I see a problem, I'm a giver and a fixer. I see a problem, I've got to give my time, all of it, to fix your problem. And I've done that more than once. And by doing that, I become forceful in that. I force that person to do something they may not want to do, like handing things over for me to fix. And then I kind of begin to rule, and I fall into this subconscious, don't even consciously know it until it breaks down. And then I start getting hurt because they're responding by hurting me and just being nasty. And it's gotten pretty nasty, to the point where people have attacked my character, my name, and I understand it, but I'm a giver and a fixer. I give all of my time to fix your problems. That's no longer on my agenda. I'm not here to fix anybody else's problems. I'm not here to give everything I have to everybody else. I'm here to give myself first, to fill me up, so I have enough to fill up somebody else. And I'll be honest with you, it'll be myself, my family, my dogs, my closest friends, who I also consider family, before it's anybody else. I had to have boundaries for myself. And it may sound nasty, it may sound, crazy and mean and all that, but these harsh realities is that I live in a world where I can easily be taken advantage of. I live in a world where I can easily take advantage, and I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to be more mindful of that. So that's how I'm nurturing, how I reconnected from my spiritual void, reconnecting into my spirituality, bringing that void back into nurturing. myself. um, and like I said, hindsight is 2020. For many of you, you guys may have noticed that my husband is home. He is still bedridden. I'll be taking him back and forth to doctor's appointments and PT and stuff to get him stronger so that he can stand on his own. Because right now he's standing with a one-person assist for like 2 minutes. He has to learn how to walk again and get that strength back. He lost an extreme amount of weight, but he is back. Mentally, he is there. He will never remember, those months, those first early months. Doctors have already said there's no way because his body had to shut down in order to survive. And it bothers him. He's like, what the hell happened? 1 minute I was home, the next minute I'm waking up in, a rehab. He's like, what happened? And that's still going to bother him. So he is getting counseling on that. But he is home. And the next few months, possibly even over a year, is going to be hard for him. It's going to be an adjustment for all of us. But I'm just glad he's back. I'm glad that I have another chance with him, a few more years with him. And with him coming back the way he did, it's changed his perspective, because one thing that was said at that retreat, and I know you know who this is, I'm not going to say names, but powerful, powerful words, and I live by them now. People are going to treat you the way you allow it, the way you allow them to treat you, whether it be your life or your business. If they're going to tell you how to run your business, then you might as well hand your business over to them, kind of thing. But they're going to treat you how you allow it. They're going to treat you how you treat yourself. So I try to take a look at myself. How am I treating myself? How am I allowing others to treat me? And I adjust accordingly. Some people find it very offensive. That's okay. That's okay. Because another Thomas Paine that I use, a lot of people are going to hate me for this. I gotta find it because it's on my phone. It's Thomas Paine. He who dares not offend cannot be honest. So basically, people who should know better, confusing the ideas that freedom of expression is universal, no one has the right not to be offended with the idea that there is universal right to offend. Basically. Okay? So, he who dares not offend cannot be honest. So I always tell people all the time, I'm open, I'm honest, and I'm blunt. They take that as, oh, okay, great, wonderful. I'm going to get, whatever. No. Let's expand on that. I'm going to offend you. In some way, shape, or form, offense is going to be taken by you. That I'm not purposely doing, but is going to be purposely taken. In order for me to be honest to myself, you're going to be offended. That's all there is to it. And I take those words and I live by those words. I don't purposely go out to offend. That is not who I am. I am about love. I'm about boundaries, but I'm about love. You do you, I'll do me. That's awesome. I'm going to clap for you. I'm going to cheer you on because, you're doing a great job. But I'm going to offend you because there's going to be some sort of subconscious, unconscious thing that's going to go, oh, what? Because the truth is going to be there as I see it. And it may not be the same truth as you see it. So I try to take those words. Yes, Thomas Paine, really, wow. Bronte, I've been taking some of their Shakespeare. Um, all of these things. Buddha, um, you name it. I've been taking a lot of different quotes and stuff and really applying it to my life. But so yeah. So where I went and what I did to reconnect with my spirituality. Like I said, I went to, well, the first one I went was inside, within myself. I had to come to grips within myself. You know, you can't force what doesn't want to be done. I had to go within myself and find out why I was resisting and get that block out of the way. So that was the first place I went, was within myself to overcome those blocks and overcome those, you know, the resistance that I had and really have honest, deep conversations with myself. Then I went to the universe. I call it whatever you'd like, God, you know, Jehovah, Buddha, whatever. I call it the universe, the great unknown, or you know. And I said, okay, I need to learn to trust you. I don't know what your plan is, but okay, please show me what it is that I can go to, and that I can learn to reconnect. Give me those opportunities, please. Put those, you know, put those opportunities in my path, and please be clear because you know, I'm really having a hard time processing here. So the first thing was actually my neighbor down the road. I got a text out of the blue. I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting. So I, you know, was helping her. And we had a really wonderful day. And we just talked about tarot and runes and, you know, divination of all sorts. And we just talked and shared ideas and stuff. It was amazing. And it was just like things, synchronicity happens. You know, things became synchronized in my life. It was just like, okay, what's next? You know, where do I need to go next? What do I need to do next? And during this time, I started listening to my guides more. Whether it be angels, whether it be guides, whether it be past loved ones, whether it be, you know, whatever. I consider it my guides. And she started coming in clear, and I started, you know, really connecting with her when I stopped connecting with her. I had stopped connecting with her. I had stopped talking to her, and I missed her because she was like my ultimate best friend and really a part of me. And getting that back was like, oh, okay, I missed you. Give me a hug. You know, so I was kind of hugging myself, that part that was missing, but I listened to her more. And I've gone to, like I said, you know, and as nervous as I am, like I said, social anxiety is horrible with me. Hence why I try to do videos, I try to do the things I do. Because everybody has a message. But if we're too afraid of society to get that out there, then, you know, we don't get it out there. So I try. At least I try anyway. So the next thing was like the goddess tea that I went to, which was, wow. Definitely going back to that. And then it was like, you know, the retreats, the meditation, you know, the past life regression meditation, and I had another meditation that was coming up, and sadly I had to cancel because my husband ended up coming home on a Saturday. You know, it was supposed to be a Sunday and just not going to work. But I'm looking at that, going, okay, that's good. Bring it on. What am I going to learn? What is it I need to pay attention to and focus on? What benefit is this giving me? And I go in with an open mind. I do. I go in with an open mind going, okay, awesome. What's next? So, another thing that has helped with my spirituality, my nurturing of myself, okay, is letting that shit go. Yeah. I'm doing shadow work a while back at a couple of friends' place they put on. That's always been their motto, let that shit go. Oh, thank you, Carrie. Thank you, thank you. Blessings to you too, sweetie. Definitely going to have to get together soon as well. Um, I let that shit go. um, I try to look at things that happen in my life. Another little quote. Very powerful one for me. Maybe it'll work for you. You could have the worst 5 minutes in your day, okay? And it will last 5 minutes. You have a choice. It can last 5 minutes, or you can take that 5 minutes and make it last all day. Seriously. What would you rather have? A bad 5 minutes, or taking that 5 minutes and milking it for the whole entire day? Okay? So this is what I do. I recognize that this is a bad 5 minutes. And I automatically allow my emotions to come. I embrace that aspect because that's that darker side of myself that we still have to embrace, because by ignoring it, it does not go away. We embrace it as a part of our whole self. And then I go, okay, all right. I've had a good yell, I've had a good scream, I've had a good cry, I've had a good whatever it may be. That 5 minutes is done. What did I learn? What did that 5 minutes teach me? What was that lesson? And then I try to analyze it and then move on and have a better day. I try not to milk it for the whole entire day. I let that shit go. So within a bad 5 minutes, by 15 minutes, I'm done. That's from the start of that 5 minutes to the end of that. I'm done. I let that shit go. If it's certain things that can't be let go right away, I'll back burner it to let go. Because I will journal about it. What's the lesson? Why is it bothering me so bad? What is it showing to me? And I write it down. And I let that shit go. Whether it's emotionally, whether it's writing, which I do a lot of. Sometimes I burn it. I really want to let that shit go. I don't want that coming back. But that's how I deal. And that's how I've dealt with losing my connection to spirituality, losing that connection, losing it all. By nurturing myself, and that's in many ways. I've always had the Sunday. The Sunday is my day. That's when I pamper myself. I've had that for a very long time. I really stepped it up when we moved where we are now. Was adamant about it because I do so much during the week. I needed a day, and it got the family used to it, which is great. Which is very hard sometimes. Sometimes you have to really have the heavy ass boundaries for your family. So, but I wasn't nurturing the way I should have, at least in my opinion. Because I was nurturing body, I was nurturing mind, but I was not nurturing soul and spirit. So when everything kind of went kablooey, and I'm climbing this mountain of boulders and shale and sharp pointy objects to try to reach the top of understanding as to why all this happened to me all at once, not realizing once you get to the top, you got all this you got to process. You still got to go down the other side. You either walk, you either duck walk, or your butt slides right down. And it's still rocky and shale and pointy objects along the way. Nothing is ever going to be easy. And that's for me. Nothing is ever easy. I'm too stubborn, I guess. The universe likes to whisper things to me, and then if I don't listen, go smack upside the head. Here you go. Here's, 3 things in 5 years that are going to make you realize. So, how do I nurture it? Well, many lessons have been learned through this whole entire process, and like I said, I'm still not through it all. I know there's more to come. But I accomplished one of my biggest goals in life, and that was to have my own business. It kind of forced me to take stock. I'm almost 48 years old. I had made promises to myself, um, and I run it the way I want to run it, using like the words I said. They're going to treat you the way you allow them, and include your business. I meditate mindfully now. I do yoga for myself, nobody else. I don't have a preconceived notion that I'm going to be, teeny tiny and, be able to have straight hands again and straight feet again and straight legs again. And I do it for me. I eat better sometimes, although I'm sorry, I'm not giving up coffee. Just not happening. The world cannot have me alive in this world without coffee because I do not function and I'm not nice. I eat healthier for me. As hard as it is and as nasty as some may think, I put myself before anybody else. I have to be able to fill myself up before I can fill anybody else. I have to. I have to open my eyes to the possibility that not everyone is going to be my friend. People are going to dislike me, and that's okay. By letting go of those preconceived ideas and opinions of others from my past, cutting those ties, holding on to whatever hurt or anger I'm holding on to. They've moved on. They don't care. I'm sure they've moved on. So cutting those ties, but learning the lessons, but cutting those ties, nurturing. The biggest thing that I nurture is my inner girl, my inner little girl. She was lost for a really long time. I kind of pounded her down because I didn't want to have to deal, and coming to terms with that, which is very odd because I met my husband when I was, through that, during that time frame. But really, really doing this. And then by continuing to nurture this every single day, I'm able to nurture who I really am, to grow and expand, nurture everything about my spiritual path. I'm becoming more balanced. My pendulum is always going to swing one way or the other, but by being more aware of it. It's hell sometimes because through the last 6 months, I've lost people I really, really loved. My life has been turned upside down. I've been the loneliest I've ever been in my whole entire life. I've been the most scared more often than not. I've hated myself to the point of exhaustion. I gave up more often than I should have. I've hated every aspect of my life. I've hated other aspects of other people's lives that affected mine. And I was completely lost. I felt that I was drowning, all alone, having my arms out, hoping someone would pick me up. And nobody came. That was the hardest lesson. A lot of this has taught me that I am stronger than I ever thought I was. that I'm smarter than I thought I was, that I have more empathy and compassion than I ever thought I did, not just for myself, but for others. That I am really a good person. Um, I'm an honest person. I'm human and I make mistakes. At the end of the day, whether anybody else loves me, I know I love me. Um, I know I'm imperfect, but I love the imperfections and I love the perfections. Um, that I'm finding that balance. That I'm finally using what I was given. Whatever talent that may be, I'm still using it, but I'm loving myself through the healing process, through the learning process, through the reconnecting process, through the nurturing process. I'm learning and loving myself, reconnecting and nurturing my spirituality as my butt is sliding down the other side of that mountain. And I'm going to squeal and yell and holler all the way, but I'm going to, at the end of it, look back at this journey and realize this whole entire time the universe has been whispering in my ear, has been telling me things need to change, and then smacked me upside the head and said, now, we're not talking later, now it needs to change. You need to find your strength now for what's coming. And I'm trusting my guides more. I don't know where the universe is going to take me. I don't. I don't know what type of adventure. It's kind of hard with a person that's a little OCD, with anxiety. But I'm going to do it. I deserve it. Me reconnecting with my spirituality, me really nurturing that growth, that expansion, where it's going to lead next, and putting all the bullshit and leaving that, let that shit go behind me, is freeing me up to have the strength, to have the patience to move on. So, if you feel that you're lost on your path, don't know where to go, and if you take anything from this video today, or later when, if you just, send it to someone or whatever, if the main lesson that I'm hoping, the main lessons, I'm sorry, that I'm hoping that you take from this video is to sit down, really, really have a deep, intense discussion with yourself. And be honest. Don't be superficial. Don't. If you feel you are lost in the spiritual area, sit down and have that real deep discussion and find out why and when. Once you do that, the next step that I took that may help you, again, this is all opinion based, do as you need to do, okay? But I'm just telling you how this worked with me. Consistency. That's a hard one. For me, anyway. I get caught up very easy in the mundane world. My focus is here for the moment. Okay, I'm thinking 5 steps ahead for just that task. And then I have this coming, and I have this coming, and I have this coming, and I have this coming. So I'm trying to cover. Seriously, be consistent with your spirituality. Every morning, I sit on my back deck and watch the sun come up. Every morning. Even during my darkest times. that was the only thing that I looked forward to in the morning was that sunset. I now sit on my front porch and watch, or sunrise. I now sit on my front porch and watch the sunset. So I sunrise from the back porch, sunset from the front. And you know what? That's one of the reasons why I bought that house. Take a few minutes. Just take a few minutes. Reconnect. Keep that connection. Nurture it like you would an infant, because that's what it is. Nurture it like you would a toddler, like your child, because in a sense, it is. Your spirituality is an extension of your inner child, I feel. Nurture it. Above all else, nurture it. At the end of the day, just be grateful. Don't be so hard on yourself. Decisions have to be made. Sometimes they have to be made off the hip, and we have to make them. And we don't have time to hope, to think if it's the right or wrong one. All we have is time to hope we made the right decision. During this time, did I make every single decision right for my husband's care? Probably not. Would I go back and change some? Probably. Can I? No. I can't. But that decision that I made at that point in time was a decision I stuck with. Good, bad, or otherwise. But don't be so hard on yourself. It's not. Have a bad 5 minutes. Don't milk it for the day. Okay? With that being said, I wish you guys many, many blessings, much love. I am blessed to have so many people and teachers in my life. So I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Everyone has taught me something. So I want to say thank you for that. Go out, try to enjoy the day. Even if it's raining, try to enjoy the beauty of that, even for 5 minutes, because it's still beautiful. And remember, you are stronger than you think, braver than you think. You are smarter than you ever gave yourself credit for. You are a compassionate, loving, kind, caring person. And you need to make sure you do that for yourself first. But you do it for the world already. Do it for yourself too. Many, many blessings. Until next time, you guys have a wonderful day. Blessings. And thank you for watching.